Good morning, fourth grade. Today we will be completing a practice test about fossils. This practice test is to help you for our test for the fossil test you will have tomorrow morning. Follow along and practice with these questions so you are well prepared for tomorrow's test. Good luck. First question. Pick the two scientists that study fossils. Is it a geologist, biologist, a paleontologist, or an astronomer? You are picking two choices. If you said the geologist and paleontologist, that is correct. Geologists study different rocks, and paleontologists discover the history of Earth by examining fossils. Question 2. Superposition tells us that each rock layer is older than the one above it. So the layers of rocks that are close to the ground are older. Now let's take a look at this rock diagram. Which of the following sentence is true based on the rock diagram that we see here? Is it that the bright angel shell is the most recent layer? Is it that the Sapai group is the oldest layer? Is it that the Kiabab formation is the most recent layer? Or is it that the hermit shell is the oldest layer? If you said that the Kaib formation is the most recent layer, you are correct. We know that because the Kaibab formation layer is the layer that is sitting at the very top. And since it is at the very top, we know that because of superposition that the newer layers are on top of all the different rock layers. Next question. What is a fossil? Is a fossil a picture of an organism? Is it any trace, remains, or imprint of organisms found in the Earth's crust? Or is it any living thing? If you said any trace, remains, or imprint of organism found in the Earth's crust, that is correct. Next question. Which is not true about fossils? We're focusing on what is not true. As someone who studies fossils is called a paleontologist. Fossils can tell about living things in the past. Fossils can show the color of fur an animal had. Or is it fossils can tell where animals lived in the past? If you said C, fossils can show the color of fur an animal had, that is correct. That is not true about fossils. Since fossils only show us the imprint, we are able to see the outlines or the different shapes, but we are not able to see the color of fur or the different color of the organism. Now, next question says, which fossils provide evidence that an area was once covered by water? So I have 6 different fossils. Which of these 6 different fossils do you think shows evidence that they were once near water? Is it A, the starfish, B, this fern, C, the skeleton of a dinosaur, D, this fish, E, this imprint of what seems like a lobster, or F, this dragonfly imprint? Pick the letters on Edpuzzle that matches the picture on this slide. If you picked A, one next to the starfish, D, the one next to the outline of a fish, and E, the one of the imprint of a lobster. That is correct. As we know, these are animals that we typically find in ocean water, so that tells us that an area could possibly once been inhabited by an ocean and all the different ocean animals. Next question. Now we are going to try to identify the different types of fossils. I have a fossil of what seems like a shell here. What type of fossil is it? Is it petrification? Is it a cast? Is it a mold? Or is it a preserved remain? If you said mold, you are correct. See how this fossil, this rock fossil has an empty space, shaped like a seashell, a shell? That is because the imprint of the shell made this empty space on the rock. Let's move on to the next question. Now I have a picture of what seems to be like a spider, a whole spider that is trapped into a fossil. What type of fossil is it? Is it A, petrification? Is it a cast? Is it a mold? Or is it a preserved remain? If you said preserved remain, that is correct. We can tell because preserved remains are fossils that usually capture or freeze the whole entire animal organism, and when the fossil is found years later, it has the organism has the same exact shape as just because since it was frozen or captured in what it was doing. Now we have a picture of another type shell. Notice how this one looks a bit different than the one we saw first. Seems more 3D. Is this petrification, cast, or a mold? Or is it a preserved remain? If you said cast, that is correct. I know that this is a cast fossil because cast fossils usually the minerals take up the space and form a 3D shape of the imprint that was created by the organism. Last one. What type of fossil is shown below? This looks like a tree trunk that was turned into a fossil rock. Is that petrification, cast, mold, or preserved remains? If you said petrification, that is correct. Petrification is when a tree gets hard and with water minerals it turns into a stone. We have finished the practice test for our fossil unit test tomorrow. If you would like to get more additional practice, you can replay this video and practice the questions again. If you would like additional practice for our science test tomorrow, don't forget to visit www.odaloo.org to use the practice game to prepare for the test. The login information is on Google Classroom. Good luck!